Just before we get started, Penny, I popped in your downstairs loo and I found this award. What is it?
Okay. Yes, it's the Professional Speaking Award of Excellence, and it's brand new, given to one person a year. And it's from the Professional Speaking Association, which is the industry, or my trade association, if you like, who have awarded me the Professional Speaking Award of Excellence, which means, Steve, I'm excellent at speaking. And I love it because it's a real recognition of the last, 10 years of really hard work on my part to understand how to be a brilliant speaker and how to work hard in the industry and get known for that. So it's a bit like the Speaker Hall of Fame. That's what they call it in the States anyway. Hurrah for me, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Penny Haslam. This time on the podcast, true confidence obviously doesn't come from knowing everything, but it perhaps comes from trusting that you'll work it out. Volatility, uncertainty, sitting with uncertainty is about building your confidence around it. We are getting into feeling confident at work when you don't have the answers. Oh, isn't that annoying? Or you don't know what's next. Or you have run out of solutions that have worked in the past, but they're not working anymore. And your pockets are empty of any ideas. So that space before you know what to do is what we're going to be focusing on today. This is about building confidence when there's no certainty. And it's a skill worth practicing. Now, culturally, we like to think that in the best organisations, people are afforded the space to solve problems. There are problems that need solving with speed. Sometimes we want to know, we want to have certainty because it makes us feel confident, it makes us feel comfortable. So this really comes home to me in a course that I run called Decision Making Under Pressure, or High Quality Decision Making Under Pressure. And in the workshop, we use an unusual exercise, which is to get the delegates, maybe 12, 15 people in the room, to picture a library, a public library, after an earthquake. So it might be your local library. There's been an earthquake. Nobody's been hurt, but there are books everywhere. And the metal shelving has all buckled, it's collapsed, it's all on the floor. And you're the head librarian, and you're told you've got to thin out the collection. You've got to thin it out because the library can't open in the state that it's in. And the new space that you're going to be creating, or, the space that is safe, has only got, a shelving for so many books. So you've got to thin out the collection. You've got no system, you've got no guidance, pretty much chaos. So how do you do this? How do you choose which books to throw away? Do you ditch the classics? You might have 3 copies of a Jilly Cooper Riders novel. Do you chuck them all out because they're old, or do you keep hold of them because they're regularly booked out? Do you throw in a thing with a broken spine, or just that, it's maybe seemingly out of date? Or do you just start guessing? And so when we do this as a group exercise, at first people hate this. A lot of blank stares, quite a lot of arguing on things as well. And some people rush in with half-baked solutions, and other people just fold their arms waiting for the real instructions, the actual model or formula as to how to know what to do. They don't know what to do. And you can feel the tension rising. And that's the point. This exercise is uncomfortable by design in order to experience that discomfort. And what are you going to do in that? What are you doing with that bit? Not the decision, but what are you doing with this messy, unclear, slightly overwhelming feeling? So true confidence obviously doesn't come from knowing everything, but it perhaps comes from trusting that you'll work it out. And so here's how it shows up. Like me, impatience, you're rushing to a decision, maybe not asking others for help. I know I didn't do that. I was a very solo driven, right, I'm making a decision, I'm getting on with it. I don't need to, communicate or, confer with other people. It might be that you want to take control, and you do that in a dominant way, and, you don't allow other people's input in. And it might be that also you avoid stuff. You avoid making the decision or avoid and you're getting involved, actually, and maybe you step back, you're waiting for someone else to take the lead, which is kind of not the point, right? So here is how you might actually build the muscle of being confident in uncertain times. So it's a quick 5-step run through. Are you ready? Yes, of course you are. Step 1, just name it, right? That's it. Notice it. Notice your discomfort. You know, that jittery urge to do something, anything. And say this to yourself, you know, this feels uncomfortable because I don't know yet. Step 2, our instinct is to rush, but pause before you react and think about how you respond. If you have to just take a breath, if that's all you've got time for, take a breath, because that creates a space. And then you can, you know, think about how you want to respond rather than, you know, reacting blindly and jumping in because, you know, of the pressure. Step 3, look back before you look forward. This is interesting. Now, if you've done this before, if you've felt this before, you can look back to that time, and it may be a different circumstance, but it's definitely the same feeling, right? Remind yourself that you've handled it before. Oh, yeah. I remember the time when this wasn't certain, but then we sorted it, and now it's in the rearview mirror. It doesn't seem as bad. This situation might not be as bad as well, right? What's the jeopardy? Is it that bad? Step 4, involve others. That is the opposite of what you want to do when you're feeling this discomfort, when you don't know things. But involving others is a really cool way to get solutions, innovation, strengthening confidence for everybody, actually, when they've inputted. And start by asking questions. So you don't know the answer, you can't answer that. You can ask more questions and build clarity, which is step 5. Clarity builds over time. So you don't need the perfect plan up front. Tell yourself that. But taking the first step with all of the other things in place, by asking people questions, inviting solutions and pausing, then the next thing comes. You know, clarity often arrives when you start moving, but you don't have to move the whole thing along. So yeah, okay. So this is not rocket science, granted. I'll give you that, right? But it is a nice reminder in this very VUCA world. Oh gosh, now I've said that, I'm going to have to remember what VUCA stands for. Volatility, uncertainty, conflict, and something else. VUCA, V-U-C-A. It's a VUCA world all the time. The only thing that's certain is uncertainty, right, etc. And when we sit with uncertainty, or we can't sit with it rather, impatience takes over and we make rash decisions, make mistakes. So sitting with uncertainty is about building your confidence around it. It's not about being careless or lazy or, you know, backward thinking. You just need to find that sweet spot, you know, rather than swaggering into a meeting, slamming your fist on the table, dumping down a big thump of paper and going, I've got the answer, it's this way. No, it's not about that, is it? No. So just to, you know, come full circle, as we say, tie it up in a bow in podcasting terms. We'll go back to the library, by the way. You still haven't sorted out your books, have you, in the library? But you have faced the discomfort. It might be that you've discussed it well, and it might be that you've got a bit of progress with finding out that. And yes, the library gets sorted and you're able to kick out what's not needed. It is actually from a podcast, that story that I listened to recently, called Weeding is Fundamental. And it gives the full story of a library in San Francisco after an earthquake in 1989 that did actually have to weed so many books, and it was a massive story. It's really fascinating, so do take a look at that. It's in the show notes, as is the full blog on this, where you can read more and perhaps share it as well, of course. See if you know someone who's a bit of a rusher inner when it comes to deciding stuff or telling people how to do things, but perhaps no one really looks at them and thinks, oh, that's a good plan. They probably need a little bit more confidence in the space where they are uncertain. Thanks for listening.